Riders, it's Josh from CycleHunters.com. Check this out. Matt has got the BST wheels, the carbon fibers, and we're gonna do a little bit of mounting, checking the weight, seeing these things finally mounted to the bike.
Oh, I can't wait. I've been dying to mount these things up. We were just waiting on some simple things like tires to come in, but we're gonna see how much they weigh. Just bare, and then with the sprocket carrier, this is the rear wheel, if you couldn't tell already. And of course this scale is SAE certified, obviously. So what do you got there, Josh?
This looks like 6 pounds.
6, 7, somewhere in there.
It looks like, yeah.
Probably closer to the 6 mark.
Yep.
Now this is a sprocket carrier here, which actually, we already measured or weighed this before, and it's pretty funny because this almost weighs half the weight of the wheel right now. So this will jump up to about, I don't know, 10, maybe 11 pounds. So there you go, with the sprocket and carrier on there.
Oh, let's see. Yeah.
Between
right around 10 pounds.
Right around 10 pounds, so it adds...
Maybe 10.5 pounds.
So you had almost 4 pounds of weight just in the sprocket carrier.
That's crazy.
So that's over half the weight of the wheel itself. That's funny. So we will see how much our front wheel weighs. Now again, this stuff doesn't have any brake rotors on it, or, you know, this is pretty much how you get it shipped to you. So we just wanted to see what this weighed. And I'll probably do a final weight with the tire on, because when I pull the wheels off the bike, I'm gonna just weigh those as they sit. I'm not gonna strip them down and see what they weigh. I'm just gonna weigh them as a complete set, and then I'll compare it to the carbon fiber wheel as a complete set. But I just wanted to see how much these things weigh just out of the box, and then compare it to what they say on the website to see if they're doing any kind of fudging of their numbers.
Well, I will say our scale is
tailor-made.
Precision.
Tailor-made.
Tailor scale. As you can see. And
that is a
correctly. So.
That is a Philip Haldeman special.
What do you think about that, Phil?
Oh, that's a nice scale. Straight from my bathroom.
All right, so we are going to now pull the front wheel out of the box, and we're going to see what that weighs. Again, like I said, this doesn't have any brake discs on it, none of the ABS. It does have all these spacers in there that are needed. So all that's on there, and the actual carriers are on here that mount the brake rotor to. What do we got there, Josh? Drum roll.
I'd say, boy, that's like 6 pounds, 5.5 pounds, 6 pounds.
So right around about the same weight.
Pretty much. It's pretty incredible.
As the rear, which is actually really incredible, because if you look,
right,
the rear wheel, it's a lot bigger, but
incredible.
About the same weight. So that's what they weigh. Stripped down, we're gonna go put the bike on the lift. Josh will probably be back in a little bit. I'm gonna get all the old stuff off, and then we're gonna weigh the stock setup. That's gonna be the tire, brakes, sprocket, everything on the stock setup, and we're gonna compare that to what is, you know, the aftermarket setup. We're gonna see what the difference in weight total overall is. But pretty interesting, I think. Pretty light, actually really light. So see you on the flip side. All right, so before we actually put them on the bike, we have to mount the tires to the wheels. And I actually watched the video on Brock's website, Brock's Performance. They actually made a YouTube video on this exact procedure here. So all I'm doing is duplicating, you know, what they did. So if you're following along with us and you want to mount carbon fiber wheels and you have a machine similar to this, these are a couple of tips and tricks that we can go over here real quick to get your machine set up correctly. So the first thing you want to buy is you want to get wheel protectors or rim protectors here. These are very cheap. And all they are is just an extra layer of protection. They're just a piece of plastic that clamps onto the rim itself and then protects the rim from getting crushed by the tire machine. Now, speaking of getting crushed by the tire machine, you also want to make sure that you adjust the pressure going into your tire machine. Now, Brock's recommends a pressure of about 55 psi, and most tire machines have the ability to adjust that pressure just by turning this valve here, and we have ours set somewhere in the neighborhood of 55, 60 psi, somewhere in there. You don't want to put full tank pressure to this because you do run the risk of it possibly cracking the wheel, distorting the wheel, so just as low a pressure, and they found that 55 psi holds it tight enough without giving it the ability to spin. So we have that set. Next thing we want to set is the head height on the actual arm here. This is what installs the tire onto the wheel. We just want to bring this down ever so gently, just until it about makes contact with the wheel. And then right about there, so just a minor touch. And then when you tighten that, that raises that up. Gives you about 1/8 of an inch, roughly. And I actually want it to be just a little bit more myself. You barely want to make contact with this wheel. And when you bring it in on the side, just want to bring it in again. So they're about equal. That's a little bit high there. This is the fiddly part. But the nice thing is, you only really have to do this twice when you're mounting these tires at least. That should be good there. Plenty of tire mounting solution. You basically want this wheel to slip and fall right on this wheel. Or yeah, tire. You want the tire to slip and fall on the wheel, not the other way around. So get some good tire mounting compound on the tire. And we're also going to put some on the actual tire install head there. Just want it to be as slick as it can be. Eliminate any stresses, or eliminate as much stress as possible. So tire's good. Get some on there and on there. You don't have to put it on the wheel, but put it on the machine, get it on the tire. And when we install this, we're going to line the arrow on the tire, the directional arrow on the tire, which is, I can never find these things when I want to. Let's see, right here. So our rotational arrow, we want to line that up. We want to make sure we put it in the direction that's on the wheel. This is clear coated over, so this sticker isn't going to come off unless you grind that clear coat off. So this is 180 out, so we'll just make sure that that's going the right way. And then you just want to put this on as much by hand as possible. You get this tire into the center of the wheel, that's the thinnest part of the wheel, and then just work it around. Again, as much as you can get on there by hand, do it. So we got the whole thing on there by hand. Same thing goes for when we're putting this other side on. Hook it in under the head over that side there, and again, as much as we can get it on by hand. We'll let the machine do the work at the end there, but as much as we can get it on there by hand, we're going to do. That way we eliminate as much stress on the wheel as possible. And then just tap that on there. There we go. Take your time doing this stuff. If you're putting a carbon fiber wheel on, take your time. It doesn't hurt to do that. So now we got the tire on. One thing I will say, get a soft compound tire. You know, something like a Michelin like we have here, or something with a really soft compound. It makes it a lot easier for it to drop on the wheel like this one did. But that's on there. Get our rim clamps off before we put air in this tire. And then the video said you kind of want to take a couple extra steps back when you're mounting these bad boys. Just as a precaution. Now I'm not too concerned with the new wheel. I think mainly their focus is on a wheel that has a couple miles on it. You know, you don't know the condition of that wheel. Somebody could have hit a big pothole in Pennsylvania. I mean, that's what Pennsylvania is. So you just want to be careful when you're mounting these tires. Don't stick your face down on the wheel. Again, our pressure is turned down. We have it no higher than 50, 55. And then when you're putting the air in the tire, you just want to do it in short little bursts until you get the bead to seat. And again, we greased this thing up pretty good, so it should seat with very minimal pressure. I'm nervous, Josh. I don't know why. There it goes. We only got about 24, 25 pounds of pressure in there right now. So, there's one. Whew. I jumped. Good. Then we'll just take this off here. That looks so good. Now on the Hayabusa, they recommend 42 for stock pressure, so I'm just going to go with the stock pressure on this one. Now, there are some people out there that don't like to balance these wheels because they don't like to put ugly wheel weights on the wheels, but Brock's and BST, they kind of recommend that you balance them because you don't want any unnecessary vibrations coming from these wheels. So we will be balancing these, and yeah, it's a bummer that we might have to put some wheel weights on here, but again, the general census that I got from Brock's and BST is they want you to balance these. Now they do make something called balancing beads, and we actually sell them here. Yeah. There's a couple different companies that make them. We have the Counteract balancing beads. And you might think that these would be okay to put in the wheel, but Brock's doesn't specifically say yes to putting these in because these are a ceramic material and they're kind of weary of putting a harder material inside a wheel and it kind of eroding away at the carbon fiber. So they said people have put the balancing beads in these carbon fiber wheels, but they just don't have the miles on the bikes to tell if there's going to be an effect long term. So I would just say do the traditional balance. That's what we're going to do, and you should be fine. But make sure that you do balance them because you just don't want your wheels wobbling out there and causing a failure for something as simple as a couple of ounces of weight. That's on there. I'm going to get these balanced up and then throw them on the bike. They look really good. And they're just, even with the tire on, it's still a light tire. Once I get this thing fully dressed, I'm excited to see how much this weighs, especially compared to the stock wheel. We'll see you guys in a few seconds. Alrighty, Josh, moment of truth. How much you think this monstrosity weighs?
With the tire on it, I'm going to say 40 pounds.
I'm going to say at least
30.
I'm going to say 26, my guess. I don't even know if we're going to be able to read it here.
Do your best to set it on our super scale.
And the final number is... She's a heavy girl.
Ooh, I was really close. 29. No, wait. That's 34.
Is it 34?
Yeah, it's 34.
It's 34 pounds.
34 pounds at the wheel.
Ooh-wee.
That's a big difference.
That is, well, like I said, we don't have the rotor and we don't have the tire on, so we don't know yet how big a difference. But the fact that everything we had on there only weighed, what, 10 pounds? 11 pounds? Yeah. I mean, it's going to have to add quite a bit of weight between a brake rotor and the tire. So I'm going to dismount this stuff. I'm going to fully mount the rear carbon fiber wheel, and I'll have it ready to go, and then we'll just plop it on the scale before I put it back on the bike. But, I mean, 34 pounds. Wow. That's a lot.
Well, let's see what the carbon wheel is.
Let's see what we got here. All right, Josh, moment of truth. Fully dressed wheel ready to go on. The scale, that is.
Here we go.
All right, set that right on there.
I'm going to say...
I already know the answer because
I know
I
you do. Yeah. I'm feeling either 17 or 23. Let's see.
Take a look.
Oh my gosh. That's 25. That's like 25 point something.
And that's the same tire, same brake rotor. The only thing that's different, as I say, the only thing that's different is this hub, which we weighed this separate, and it weighs about 3 pounds. You know, compared to the stock one, they're pretty close in weight comparison. So all of your weight savings is in that wheel.
Amazing.
And that's over 10, that's 10 pounds basically, because it was what, 34? Mm-hmm. So now you're 25, so a good solid 9, if not 10 pounds. Again, this isn't the most accurate scale,
but at least it gives you
a good reference. So don't quote those numbers and hold them as...
Well, you can quote them for our scale.
You can quote them for our scale, and you can use them for a comparison. So, 10 pounds, but that's 10 pounds of rotational mass that's gone from the bike now.
Right.
And that's just in the back.
Not even mentioning
we've yet to see what the
bearings.
front looks like. Yeah, the ceramic bearings too. Not even to mention that. That's even less rolling resistance.
Right.
So, yeah, he should definitely notice something.
I agree. Only thing I want to notice is what Joel thinks about it.
Pretty hot, man.
Pretty hot, huh?
Those are pretty hot.
Nice.
They're big bucks, but they're pretty hot.
Yep.
It's like having a Porsche.
Well, all right, Josh, we got to call it quits early because the phone's ringing.
And we want to see these on the bike.
And we want to see the other one, yeah.
All right.
Just like that. Got our front wheel to measure. Another drum roll.
We are at 26.
26.
I would say, yeah, it's probably teetering 26-ish.
Yeah, 26-ish.
On our highly scrutinous scale.
Our official, unofficial, officially unofficial.
This is the Cycle Hunters scale.
This is the CHS, or CHC, Cycle Hunter Certified scale.
Joel certified.
Joel certified it. He blessed it. He said, when are you going to learn? So I'm going to take the brake rotors off of this since I already mounted that tire up on the other wheel. This tire's shot, so this should actually be a little heavier on the other wheel because it's got a brand new tire. So we'll see.
We'll see.
But that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get busy doing that, and then I'll be right back.
Sweet.
Alrighty, Joshy. What are your predictions?
I'm feeling 32. I don't know why.
I hope not 32. It was only 26.
I was going to say. I mean, I don't know why. Well, it's going to be heavier because of the rotors, too. I don't know. Here we go.
See for yourself.
Drum rizzle. $24.
So about
23, 24. It's kind of hard to see that.
I'd say we'll edge on the side of 23.
Where it's right there.
We'll go with 23-ish. So 3 pound savings on the front, and I mean, you're really down to the reason the front wheel's so heavy is because of the brake rotors and everything else. So I mean, 3 pounds is still 3 pounds.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, total overall, the back was 9, so we're at 12 pounds of savings.
That's huge.
So
that's huge.
That is a big, big
Especially
number.
when you look at it in terms of racing. Whereas
absolutely.
Most racers
if you could
are
save
talking,
3 pounds, huh?
Oh, if you could save a pound.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Awesome. Can't wait to see it on the bike now.
So I'm gonna get this mounted up. I already have the back mounted up.
Uh-oh.
And we'll see what it looks like. See how it feels. I've ridden Hayabusas before, so I have an idea of how it feels. I wish I would have ridden this before, but I don't know if Josh showed any glimpses of outside. It was snowing earlier, so we didn't get a chance to ride the bike and do a before. But you know, I've ridden enough Hayabusas. I'm sure we'll get one in here at some point for sale, and I can kind of do a comparison based off of that. But I'm anxious to see what this feels like with these on here.
No doubt.
And then I'll be playing the lottery so I can win myself a set of wheels like this. These are nice. All right, I'm headed back.
Here we go.
What up, Josh?
What do we got going on here? Looks like this is...
Just making sure that the ABS is properly adjusted. And that way the ABS is going to work and I don't have to mess with it when I go to take it on its ride, and everything works just fine. Just making sure the gap is correct here.
But look at how that looks on the bike. Oh, yeah.
Oh, it looks good.
Looks real good.
And that'll work. Now it just has to dry up so I can go take it for a ride and see how it feels.
So, at least mounted, balanced, ready to rock and roll. Thing looks gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to hear what you're thinking, what these feel like on the road.
Yeah, there are a couple of precautions with these wheels. So a couple things to think about if you are considering carbon fiber wheels. The first thing they tell you to do in the instructions is actually get insurance. Tell your insurance company you have these, because these are several $1,000s, and you want to make sure that if you are in an accident, hit a pothole, you know, a stock wheel is about the third the cost of one of these. So it's something to consider, you know, when you put carbon fiber wheels on your bike. Call up the insurance company. Just let them know you have them. Yeah, it's probably going to raise your rates, but in the event of something happening, catastrophic, you know, you damage a wheel, something like that, it's better to have it than not to have it. The other precautions I said, I mean, these should be as durable as a standard aluminum wheel, and a lot of claims say that they are. You know, but there should be precautions made. Just where you're riding, pay attention. Ooh, something in my throat. Pay attention to where you're riding. You know, these are going to be a little bit more fragile than an aluminum wheel, but yes, carbon fiber is super strong pound for pound. It is stronger than steel, but it also can be brittle. So, you know, keep that in mind when you're taking this thing out, riding it around, where you ride, you know, that kind of stuff. Maintenance on the wheels, relatively low maintenance. Soap and warm water. Really, that's how you clean these. No harsh chemicals, solvents, wheel acids, none of that stuff. They don't want you using thinners, anything. Like when I put the wheel weights on this, I just wiped it off with soapy water. That was it. That's all they want you to do to these. And mainly because they don't want you to break down any of the resins, anything that they put the wheel together with. So just be mindful when you're washing this thing. Warm soapy water, that's all they require that you use. And maybe if it's approved, a light wax just to keep that coating nice. But find out what's approved before you just go spraying any old wax on there and end up damaging your wheel as a result. But other than that, they really are, you know, they claim that you should be able to take these things out and treat them like regular wheels. I mean, you see guys on the drag strip with carbon fiber wheels going 200 plus miles an hour, so you know they can handle speed, and they should be able to handle, you know, the bike and pretty much anything you throw at it. Just be a little bit more mindful with where you ride and how you ride. So I think that about covers it. You got anything you want to add, Joshy?
All I can say is for a wheel that costs the amount of money that these do, you got to really want them.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you really want them and they look that good, and I am sure they're going to perform beyond any of our expectations, you know, it's one of those things. Got to make that choice. Like Matt's telling you, even the insurance companies understand that this is something that's over and above. So for sure, do your due diligence, do your checking ahead of time to make sure that this is something that you're going to want to do and you're going to wind up benefiting from it versus making it some sort of a liability. But if you're in the market for some seriously hot, beautiful, beautiful wheels,
It doesn't matter about the price. They look awesome.
yeah.
I like them.
Yeah. I would love them myself. But anyway, I mean, if it's something that you want to do, hopefully this video kind of gives you some insight on what to expect when you're going to be looking for some carbon fiber wheels. BST makes some beautiful, beautiful rims.
We can get them.
We can get them. You can give us a call, 717-273-1809. Also, the ceramic bearings. I can't wait to hear on the future video of a test ride, some sort of a, you know, some sort of a back and forth between a Hayabusa that doesn't have it. And again, Matt's ridden a ton of these bikes before, so he understands. He's probably going to feel it immediately, I would imagine. So,
and I mean, I can compare this closely to, I have a ZX14, you know, and I went from a standard bearing to a ceramic bearing, and I actually could feel the difference.
I believe it.
It wasn't this tremendous thing that I felt, but you definitely can feel the difference, the rolling resistance difference between the two. So I expect these to feel almost weightless, if that's even possible. But I think it's going to feel pretty good out on the road.
So in any case, thanks for watching. Hit like and subscribe.
Rock on.
Definitely, if you got questions, comments, concerns, whatever it is, drop us something in the comments, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. It's always a busy place here, which is a fun thing. So I'm going to leave you with one last shot of these babies, because that is a beautiful wheel. Beautiful. Hey, happy riding.